His answer came from behind Percy, and Mrs. O'Leary threw Kelly into the air, straight into Luke's lap. "That," Percy said, "and a lot more." The monsters in the audience were so freaked by the attack they all ran for it. Mrs. O'Leary carried the girls down to the arena floor. "Percy, quick, through the gate!" Rachel called. "The right path is going through there." They raced for the exit with Mrs. O'Leary right behind them. They lost track of how many turns they made. None of them asked Rachel if they were going the right way, but all they could think about at that moment was to get far away from that arena. They didn't stop to rest until they stepped into a room the size of a gymnasium. Percy stood at the doorway listening for sounds of pursuit, but he heard nothing. Apparently they lost Luke and his minions for now. "I don't hear anything coming," Rachel said. "I don't sense any traps in here either. I think we should be good." "Why should we even believe you anymore?" Annabeth demanded. "You led us straight into that death trap. We could have lost Percy back there." "It was the way you needed to go," Rachel said, "and so is this." "She's right, Annabeth," Percy said. "No, I mean really, it's true. There's no way we could have gotten where we needed to go without passing that. There was no way we could have avoided that. Believe me, I know." Annabeth didn't look happy about it, but she didn't reply. Then Percy realized something else. Mrs. O'Leary was gone. He didn't know when she disappeared, and didn't know if she got lost or overrun by monsters or what. His heart turned to lead. "She saved our lives," he said, "and I hadn't even waited to make sure she was following us." Ethan sat down and pulled off his helmet. "You people are just crazy," he said. Annabeth gasped. "Hey, I remember you. You're one of those unclaimed kids in the Hermes cabin." "Yeah," he said, "and you're Annabeth." "You must be the half-blood from my dream," Percy said. "Excuse me?" "The one Luke's minions held hostage. At first I thought it was a friend of ours, but it was you. Luke called you a blessing from Kronos." "How'd you know about that?" "Never mind," Annabeth said quickly. "Why were you even trying to join up with the wrong side?" "Wrong side? Wrong side?" Ethan argued. "There's not even a right side. The gods never cared about us. Why should you sign up with an army that makes you fight to the death for entertainment?" Annabeth asked. "Gee, I wonder." "I'm wasting my breath arguing," Ethan said. "Thanks for the distraction, but I'm out of here." Percy grabbed his arm. "You're not seriously just going to go back into the maze alone, are you?" he asked. "That's suicide." "Look, we're going after Daedalus," he continued. "Come with us. Once we get through, you'll be welcomed back at camp." "You all must be really crazy if you think Daedalus will help you," Ethan said. "He has to," said Annabeth. "We'll make him listen." Ethan snorted. "Yeah, well, good luck with that." "You wasted your time sparing me, Jackson. Mercy has no place in these walls. You could have saved yourself a Tartarus load of trouble." And just like that, he ran off into the darkness. The three of them were so exhausted they made camp right there in the huge room. "Something was wrong with Luke back there," Annabeth muttered. "Did you notice the way he was acting?" "He looked pretty pleased to me," said Percy, "like he spent a nice day torturing heroes." "That's not true. There was something wrong with him. He looked nervous, and he told his monsters to spare me. He wanted to tell me something." "Oh, sure," said Percy. "I can't imagine what it'd be. Hey, Annabeth, sit here with me and watch while I tear your friends apart. It'll be fun." "You're impossible," Annabeth grumbled. "So, which way now, Sacagawea?" she asked Rachel. Rachel didn't respond right away. She became quieter since the arena. Now, whenever Annabeth made a sarcastic comment, Rachel hardly bothered to answer. She was using a stick to trace figures on the floor, images of monsters she saw in the arena. With a few strokes, she caught the likeness of a Drachni woman perfectly. "We just keep following the path," she said. "You mean the same one that led us straight into a trap?" Annabeth argued. "Annabeth," Percy said. "She's doing the best she can." Annabeth stood up. The fire's getting low. I'll go look for more scraps while you guys talk strategy. Rachel drew another figure with her stick. It was Antaeus, dangling from his chains. Hey, Percy said. I'm sorry about Annabeth's behavior. She's usually not like this with others. I don't know what's gotten into her today. Rachel stared at him. Are you sure you don't know? What do you mean? Boys, she muttered. Totally blind. Hey, don't you get on my case too, he said. Look, I'm sorry I got you involved in this. No, you were right, she said. I can see the path. I can't explain it, but it's really clear. She pointed toward the other end of the room, into the darkness. The workshop is that way, the heart of the maze, she said. We're very close now. I don't know why the path led through that arena. I'm sorry about that. I thought you were gonna die. She sounded like she was close to crying. Don't feel bad, he said. I'm usually about to die. She studied his face. So, do you do this every summer? Fight monsters? Save the world? Don't you ever get to do just, normal stuff? Percy never really thought about that much. The last time his life felt normal must have been, well, since before he first discovered the truth about the gods, the monsters, and demigods. We get used to it, I guess. Or maybe not used to it, but... He shifted uncomfortably. What about you? What do you do normally? Well, you probably guessed by now that I like to paint, and I read a lot. Okay, Percy thought. So far we're scoring 0 on the similarities chart. What about your family? He asked. From the look on her face, it seemed like he hit a sensitive subject. They're just, family. You said they wouldn't notice if you were gone. She set down her drawing stick. Oh, I'm really tired, she yawned. Is it okay if I nap for a bit? Sure, said Percy. Sorry if... But Rachel was already curling up and using some extra wood as a headrest. She closed her eyes and laid very still. But he got the feeling she wasn't really asleep. A few minutes later, Annabeth came back with more sticks. I'll take first watch, she said. You should sleep too. You don't have to act like that, he told her. Like what? Never mind. He laid down feeling miserable, but he also felt so tired that he fell asleep as soon as his eyes closed. He started dreaming again. This time, it may have been his worst nightmare yet. It had to be one of Percy's worst nightmares in a long time, because this time, he was in a familiar place. A place where he seriously hoped to never visit again in real life or in a dream. He was standing over a familiar cliffside. The pit to Tartarus. So close to your own destruction, my little hero, and still you are so blind. He didn't know how, but he recognized that voice from his previous visits here. It was the voice of Kronos. The weird part was that his voice sounded different from before. It sounded as if he were more alive. I have much to thank you for, Kronos said. You have ensured my rise. Percy tried backing away from the edge, but it was like swimming through oil. Time seemed to slow down. Percy's breathing almost stopped. I always pay my debts, said the Titan Lord. Perhaps I can repay you with a glimpse of the friends you've abandoned. The darkness rippled around Percy, and he saw an image of a different cave. He saw Grover and Tyson being attacked by a giant snake. The snake had Tyson tied up, and Tyson didn't look so good. Grover began to play his reed pipes, and debris started raining down from the ceiling. Just when the whole cave was about to collapse, Percy woke up with Annabeth shaking his shoulder. Tyson's in trouble, he said. We have to find him quick. First things first, she said. Earthquake! They skedaddled for the exit. They made it through just in time to see the debris seal up the exit. You know what? Said Annabeth. I like this way after all. It wasn't long before the interior started changing. Up ahead was a stainless steel hallway with artificial electric lighting, like on some futuristic station. We're close, said Rachel. I can feel it. This isn't right, Annabeth said. The workshop should be the oldest section in the maze. This can't... She faltered, because they arrived at a set of metal double doors. Inscripted in the steel was a large blue Greek delta. We're here, Rachel said. Daedalus's workshop. So much for ancient architecture, Percy said. Annabeth pressed against the symbol, and the doors hissed open. As soon as they looked inside, the first thing that struck them was the daylight. A bright blue sky glowed through giant windows. That wasn't the kind of thing you would expect in the heart of a dungeon. The workshop was like an artist's studio, with 30-foot-high ceilings and industrial lighting. Half a dozen easels displayed hand-drawn diagrams that looked like Leonardo da Vinci sketches. There was a grandfather clock with a body made of glass so you can see the inside. And hanging on the wall were several sets of metal wings. De Immortalis, Annabeth muttered. She studied the nearest drawing. He's a genius! Just look at the curse on this building! And an artist, Rachel said, in amazement. Look at those! Some of the wings looked more advanced than the ones Percy had seen in his dreams. The feathers were more tightly interwoven. Instead of wax seals, wires ran down the sides. Percy gripped his pen. Apparently Daedalus wasn't at home, but the workshop looked like it had been recently used. The laptops were running their screensavers, and a half-eaten blueberry muffin and a coffee cup sat on the workbench. Percy walked to the window. The view outside was amazing. He recognized a huge white summit and fields in the distance. The Garden of the Gods, said a familiar voice.